For many years, the United States has played the role of the global police, using military means to interfere in the internal affairs of other countries and making huge illegal profits. The United States uses this as an excuse to use dollar hegemony and technological hegemony to suppress the scientific and technological progress of other countries by various means and extract benefits from other countries. It can be said that the history of the United States is a history of being plundered and a history of being spurned by the world. China's rapid development in the chip field has made the United States feel a slight threat. Therefore, the United States has spared no effort to obstruct the development of Chinese chips on a global scale, and Huawei has been listed as the first target of sanctions by the United States. After the United States formed the Quadruple Alliance, with Japan, Taiwan Province, South Korea and other countries, it formed a tripartite agreement, with Japan, Europe and other countries, and on this basis, it further strengthened the coordination of Japan-South Korea relations. The intention of the United States is very obvious, and that is to do everything possible to prevent China from having high-end chip production capacity and to prevent China from achieving industrial upgrading. After the three-legged confrontation, Japan imposed the most severe sanctions on the United States in history. Japan announced that it will embargo 23 types of semiconductor raw materials and equipment, including semiconductor exposure equipment, etching equipment, photoresists, etc., which are all necessary for China. What's more, China's products are still at the 45 nanometers level, and the United States only limits Chinese products to 14 nanometers. In addition, the completely independently developed 90-nanometer process technology is also limited to the 90-nanometer process. Processes within 90 nanometers still need to rely heavily on ASML's photolithography and Japanese companies' related instruments and raw materials. If this is really implemented, our domestic semiconductor chips are expected to drop from 14 nanometers to 45 nanometers. In addition, SMIC has also invested $170 billion to expand production capacity on the 28 nanometers process, striving to reach a 70% independent controllable level by 2025. Japan's move has completely disrupted the layout of China's country. $170 billion will probably be wasted. Huawei finally couldn't hold it any longer and officially declared war on the United States and Japan. In the past, Huawei has always turned a blind eye to patent infringements. As can be seen from the chart, Huawei's investment in technology far exceeds that of Qualcomm, Nokia, and Ericsson, but its profits from patent licensing are not much. Ren Zhengfei replied, Chinese companies were developing very well before and had not yet had time to collect patent royalties. But this time, the United States and Japan joined forces to deal with them, and they had to take action. Huawei has asked 30 Japanese companies to pay patent fees because they infringed Huawei's patents in 4G, 5G, wireless fidelity, and other communications. The 30 Japanese companies that were informed, ranging from small companies with a small number of employees to large companies with a small number of employees, were all informed that Huawei charged employees indiscriminately. According to Seed Planning, a research organization, Huawei's wireless communication modules are irreplaceable in the entire industrial field and have been widely used in Japan's autonomous driving, factory, medical, and power industry chains. The company's main researcher said there may be more than 1,000 companies in Japan infringing Huawei's patents. Once Huawei starts to implement the charge model, Japanese companies will have a headache, because Huawei's wireless communication system cannot be bypassed and requires payment. However, unlike Qualcomm, Huawei has not directly increased prices. Huawei has proposed two plans. One is to only pay a service fee of 50 yen for products using Huawei technology, and the other is to charge 0.1% of the sales price of communication products. Toll. Even industrial researchers from the University of Tokyo in Japan said, Huawei's fees are very reasonable. Huawei's move is undoubtedly a warning to Japan. If Japan becomes bolder and imposes restrictions on their chip products, China will definitely spare no effort to retaliate. In fact, the best example is the United States. Since the United States imposed sanctions on Huawei, Huawei has launched a series of accusations against American companies. In 2019, the United States filed a lawsuit against the U.S. telecommunications company Verizon, resulting in Verizon paying Huawei $6.4 billion in patent fees. It filed a lawsuit against the U.S. company Panoptis, demanding compensation of $99 million. In March 2022, Netgear filed a lawsuit over Huawei's Wi-Fi 6 patent. Amazon filed an infringement lawsuit against Huawei's Ink screen in October 2022, among others. Ren Zhengfei retorted, "The Americans keep saying that China is stealing their technology, but they don't have any technology. It's more like they are stealing China's technology." When Huawei took this matter to court, the Japanese media immediately expressed their opinions, especially those Japanese companies. Many Japanese media regard Japan as the cannon fodder of the United States in China's trade. The 23 bans will greatly weaken Japanese semiconductor companies and may even lead to China to carry out reciprocal countermeasures against Japanese companies, allowing Japan to gain from the United States. There is no bargain. Therefore, Japan's move is tantamount to trapping itself in a cocoon. Generally speaking, the U.S. sanctions against China have penetrated deeply into the daily operations of relevant companies. However, as a leader in Chinese technology companies, Huawei has successfully conducted independent chip research and development through independent innovation and confidentiality efforts, and has established a development direction for comprehensive intelligence and AI computing power base. Huawei's counterattack is not only a response to U.S. sanctions, but also a manifestation of collective action for China's technology industry. Under the leadership of Huawei, Chinese technology companies will rise to the challenge and compete fiercely with the United States. In the future, as Huawei and other Chinese companies continue to work hard and innovate, China's technology industry will usher in more brilliant development.